Guys! Did you know there was a post-credits scene at the end of the previous episode?
What? I totally missed that. Let's watch it now.
3.5 minutes later. Right.
I'll take this one, Commander. Okay, that segment would have been more funny had it been half as long. I did enjoy it for the first half, then it became tedious and repetitive. Plus, is it me or did it feel improvised? Not to mention the fact that interchange contradicts what Doug said earlier.
All of my life, I have studied humans. Your music, your culture, your savoir-faire.
You'd think someone who devoted their life to understanding humans and their culture would know about birthday parties, the speed at which humans read, that they sleep 8 hours a day, the amount of cheese they eat, the entertainment they watch. Or do the writers expect us to forget what he said just a few minutes earlier? Oh, and not being able to do contractions? That's a data issue, not a Vulcan one.
And then we've got Ethan Peck breaking character at the end with a beaming smile.
We weren't watching a show, Commander. We were watching a parody of a show. I don't mind parody, I enjoy them actually, but it doesn't sit right when the company making the product also makes fun of said product. Like in the holodeck episode, where they made fun of the original series. Except the sets were never that bad, the aliens were never that cheesy, the scripts were never so atrocious, and the acting was never so cringe. Uhura's speech in that episode epitomizes what Star Trek is. Or used to be. But that wasn't reflected in the fake show we saw. This isn't a show that understands itself. Such a damn shame.
And with that, let's explore Terrarium.
I'm setting my phaser to stun, just in case I need a quick way out.
So, how do you fancy an enemy mind-like story?
That was a very underrated movie. Count me in. And we finally get an Ortegas-centric episode. That bloody time.
So, Ortegas is flying a modified shuttle into an unusual part of space to deploy a special buoy. But there wouldn't be an episode if things didn't go wrong. So she gets sucked into a wormhole and lands God knows where.
So far, so good.
It becomes a story of survival on an unknown planet, while the rest of the crew try and figure out what happened and see if they can find Ortegas or at least find a way to communicate with her.
Gives the crew something to do.
And then we've got the twist about a third of the way in on this desolate moon which somehow has a breathable atmosphere.
Don't you just love it when even the most inhospitable of places has one of those? Wouldn't be fantasy sci-fi without it.
Ortegas discovers that close to her crash site, someone has been surviving for a while.
What are the odds? That and a breathable atmosphere? Feels a little too convenient if you ask me.
Not only that, but that survivor is a Gorn.
And that's the enemy mind connection. Good. Ortegas is finally going to come face to face with her own prejudice and PTSD.
Well, for a couple of minutes at most.
So, wait, what?
Okay, when she realizes the other survivor is a Gorn, she totally freaks out. She runs away, spies on it, then it finds her, grabs her by the throat.
All typical Gorn stuff.
And then chucks her away, grabs a moon centipede that was about to attack her, and claims it as food.
So that means...
Yes, the one who makes the first move, saves her life, gets wounded for his troubles, and even gives her some food, is the Gorn. Remember that for later, because that's important. Then to repay the Gorn for their kindness, Ortegas borrows a communications device that she wants to take back to her shuttle to boost the signal and contact Enterprise. But the Gorn catches her again, and saves her once more from a horde of moon centipedes.
Well, only because that device was needed for its makeshift shield generator, and Ortegas' shuttle just got swallowed up due to a moonquake anyway, so she had nowhere to go.
Be that as it may, the Gorn could have easily killed her, but chose to keep her alive, and again, feed her. Thanks to that, Ortegas doesn't see the Gorn as a monster anymore, but as a person, and then reconfigures her tricorder to create a makeshift translator.
Well, as long as the answer is yes or no. Lucky the Gorn could understand English without it, though. Saved on a lot of yes and no trial and error.
Indeed. So then a montage is done as we see the two ladies, because it turns out the Gorn is a female too, play games like chess and a Gorn variant.
It's a nice scene, good for bonding and all, but I felt it undermined the urgency of the situation they were in. Meanwhile, Ortegas tries to find a way to ascertain whether or not Ortegas is still alive, thinking way outside the box to find a solution, all while a deadline to deliver a vaccine to desperate colonists on Epsilon Indy 3 limits the time that she has to do it in. About that, there was never a feeling that side quest was that crucial. I mean, sure, saving 4,000 people is important, the needs of the many and all that, but it always felt that there was always more than enough time for Uhura to do her calculations and rescue. No real sense of urgency.
True, that side of the story felt like an unneeded distraction from the main show, and for the most part, I enjoyed Ortegas and the Gorn trying to work things out. Well, Ortegas doing most of the work, as the Gorn spent most of her time moping, it seems.
Well, Ortegas is a good tinkerer.
Exactly, and truth be told, I didn't have a problem with it. There's always a grumpy person who thinks the situation is hopeless, only to change their mind in the end. It's traditional storytelling. The point here is the story was good. Traditional, but good. I enjoyed it.
There's a but coming, isn't there?
There is. Irritatingly. It would have been a classic story of two enemies becoming friends through adversity. Heck, Star Trek has done this many times before. It's just the twist at the end that made me groan so much.
Oh, when La'an killed the Gorn, oh, that was so sad.
Not even that. That was stupid and totally not Star Trek in any way, shape or form. La'an is a security officer trained to make split-second decisions, and it was obvious the Gorn was not a threat. But the worst part was the reveal that all of this was a test by the Metrons. Why?
For those who don't know, the Metrons were there when Kirk and Spock encountered the Gorn for the first time, which, from the point of view of this story, is in the future. They created a planet for the two captains to fight each other. It was a test, because the Metron had never encountered humans and Gorn before. Except now, we know they already had, and now they have the power to control wormholes, and to make a Gorn crash land ages before Ortegas did, and to manufacture the entire situation.
To me, it ruined a good story. Even with La'an killing the Gorn, it would still have been good.
But at least it explains how the air was breathable and why there was a Gorn nearby and all that.
That was unnecessary. Plenty of hostile planets have a breathable atmosphere in Trek. It's weird science-wise, but it's happened so many times before that we think nothing of it. But why do yet another memberberry? We had that with Trelane at the start of the season, and now they're thrusting the Metrons into this one? And why make Ortegas forget their existence? They didn't do that with Kirk, despite the result of his interaction with his Gorn was very similar.
To make Kirk's encounter with the Metrons a few years later feel new?
It's just trying to shoehorn an existing storyline into a prequel that has no reason to be there. And actually, to make things worse, the Metron is really impressed with Ortegas overcoming her PTSD to work with the Gorn, yet dismissed the Gorn saving her multiple times, saying she only did that because she was lonely. But had she not done that, there would not have been any story. The Gorn made the first move. It doesn't matter for what reason. A mortal enemy didn't kill their opponent when they could have, and that's just waved away in favor of praising the other species? What the hell? That superior being would later be impressed when Kirk didn't kill his Gorn, but here, when the roles are reversed, it's just dismissed. The more I think about it, the more it irritates me. I was going to give Terrarium 3 paws up to that point. I saw it as one of the most Star Trek stories told in recent years. Shooting the Gorn dented that a little, but the Metron's inclusion shrunk it further. And I think I'm being generous. Do let us know what you think in the comments, and if you like what we do,
And how we do it.
And you feel you'd like to help us out,
Please consider joining our Patreon.
we'll leave a link to it in the description and pinned comment.
thanks for watching. See you all next time, and until then, live long,
And I'll be back.
Exactly, and truth be told, I didn't have a problem with it.